37 years old. Zero savings. And he cannot explain where the last decade went. I watched a clip the other day. A grown man. Talented. Articulate. Clearly, not stupid. Sitting across from someone asking him one simple question. What have you accomplished? And he could not answer. Not because he did not have dreams. He had plenty of dreams. He just never built the bridge between dreaming and doing. And that gap cost him everything. Here is what nobody told him, and what nobody is telling you either. There is a specific financial pattern that keeps people trapped in that exact spot. By the end of this video, you will see the 5 broken gears that keep smart people broke, and the one repair most people never think to make. This is not a video about laziness. I need you to hear that up front, because the internet loves to look at someone who is 35, 37, 40, and unemployed and say, just get a job. As if the problem is that simple, as if they have never heard of a job before. But here's what the data actually says. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average duration of unemployment for Americans aged 35 to 44 is over 23 weeks, nearly 6 months. And a Pew Research Center study found that 65% of unemployed adults say their experience has caused them to seriously question their career direction entirely. They are not just out of work. They are out of identity. And when you lose your financial identity, that is when the real damage starts. Not the kind that shows up on a bank statement, the kind that rewires how you think about money, risk, and yourself. So what actually breaks inside someone's financial brain when they have been stuck for years? Let us talk about it, because there is a mechanical pattern here, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. I call it the 5 broken gears. Here is something nobody talks about when it comes to being unemployed at 37. It is not just a money problem. It is a mirror problem. Meet Ryan, 38, lives outside Columbus, Ohio. Used to work in logistics coordination. Decent job. Benefits. The whole thing. Then, his company downsized in 2022. He figured he would find something in a few months. That was 2 years ago. Ryan is not lazy. He wakes up, checks job boards, sends applications. But here's what happened somewhere around month 8. He stopped believing he deserved the jobs he was applying for. Started lowering his salary expectations. Then lowering them again. Then he stopped applying to anything that required an interview because his words, I do not even know what I would say anymore. This is what psychologists call identity foreclosure. You start defining yourself by your unemployment instead of your capability, and it creates a financial death spiral. You do not negotiate salary because you feel lucky to get any offer. You take the first thing that comes along, even if it pays 40% less than what you are worth. According to a study published in the Journal of Vocational Behavior, workers who experience long-term unemployment accept reemployment salaries that are on average 17% lower than their previous earnings. And that pay cut, it compounds for years. That 17% number sounds small, but stick around. Because when I show you how it compounds against retirement savings, you will realize it is one of the most expensive things that can happen to a person. Here is the second gear that breaks.
Oh no.
I call it the drift tax.
Why does this keep happening?
When you are financially stuck, you do not just stop earning. You start bleeding money in ways that are almost invisible. Ryan, after 8 months unemployed, had not canceled a single subscription. Still paying for the gym he had not been to in 5 months. Still on the family phone plan that costs $180 a month when a $25 prepaid plan would have worked. Still paying $14.99 for a streaming service he watched maybe twice. Small stuff, right? Here's the math. NerdWallet's
Hi there.
2024
We're
report
introducing
found the
a new
average American
feature
spends
where I can
$219
read
per
this
month
aloud in a
on subscriptions they have either
natural,
forgotten
human-like
about or
voice.
barely use over a year. That is $2,628. Over 5 years of being in a financial fog, that is over $13,000. Gone. Not spent on anything. Just drifted away. But the drift tax is not just subscriptions, it is the $7 coffee because you are stressed and deserve something. It is the DoorDash order because cooking feels overwhelming when you are depressed. It is the online purchase at 2 in the morning because scrolling your phone is the only thing that quiets your brain. And look, I am not judging. If you have been there, you know exactly what I am talking about. That feeling where spending money is the only thing that makes you feel like a functioning adult for 5 minutes. That is real, and it is expensive. This one is brutal. And it is the gear most people do not even realize is grinding down. Every industry has a skill, half-life. The amount of time it takes for your professional knowledge to become half as valuable. In tech, according to IBM research, that half-life is roughly 2.5 years. In healthcare, it is about 5 years. Even in trades and logistics, certification expire. Software changes. Processes get updated. So, when someone has been unemployed for 2 or 3 years, they have not just lost time, they have lost market relevance. And the gap between what they knew and what employers need now, that gap gets wider every single month. Ryan felt this. He went to an interview for a logistics coordinator role, basically his old job. And they asked about a supply chain software platform he had never used. It launched 18 months after he got laid off.
Seamlessly and efficiently.
He did not get the call back.
questions?
And that leads directly to the fourth gear, the one that might be the most dangerous of all. Because this is where people start making the financial decision that buries them for a decade. Here is where it gets really tricky. When someone feels their skills are outdated and their confidence is shot, they often make one of two moves. Either they go back to school, taking on $30,000 to $60,000 in student loans for a degree that may or may not lead to employment, or they jump into some kind of business opportunity, drop shipping, crypto trading, a franchise they cannot afford because someone on YouTube told them it was their ticket out. Both of these can be the right move. But for someone in a financial crisis with no emergency fund and no income, they are almost always the wrong bet at the wrong time. Federal Reserve data from the Survey of Consumer
enough
Finances
here.
shows that families headed by someone who is unemployed hold a median net worth of just $7,700. Putting $40,000 in student loans on top of that is not investing in yourself. It is financial quicksand. And the franchise route? According to the Small Business Administration, roughly 20% of small businesses fail in the first year, and about 50% fail within 5 years. For someone starting from financial zero with no business experience, those odds get worse. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but education is always worth it. And I respect that. But there is a difference between strategic upskilling and panic spending on credentials you do not need in a field you have not researched, with money you do not have. Nobody
Alaska
talks
cruise
about this
postponed.
gear,
More courses, less fun.
but it might
I
be
need a
the
break.
one that matters most. When you are broke at 37, when you cannot contribute to rent, when your partner is carrying the bills, When your parents are slipping you $20 and you are spending 15 of it on things you do not need. Relationships crack. And cracking relationships create financial damage in ways that do not show up on any spreadsheet, according to the Institute for Divorce Financial Analysts. Financial problems are the third leading cause of divorce in America. And a Bowling Green State University study found that couples where one partner is unemployed long-term are significantly more likely to separate, divorce at 37 or 40. That is not just emotional devastation. That is splitting assets you barely have, potentially paying alimony or child support from income you are not earning yet. Moving into a more expensive living situation as a single person, losing whatever financial stability the partnership was providing. Ryan watched this happen with his older brother. 43. Went through a gray divorce after 2 years of unemployment, created a rift his marriage could not survive. His brother went from a household income of $95,000 to trying to survive on unemployment benefits in a one-bedroom apartment. The financial setback was close to a decade. So those are the 5 broken gears. Identity collapse, the drift tax, skill decay, the wrong bet, and relationship erosion. But here is the part that changes everything. And it is the thing I wish someone had told Ryan 2 years ago. You do not fix all 5 gears at once. You fix one, the smallest one, and you let it turn the others. Behavioral economists call this the small wins effect. B. J. Fogg at Stanford built an entire framework around it. Tiny habits. The idea is that momentum is more valuable than magnitude. For Ryan, the one gear was this. He started freelancing on Upwork, not his dream job. Not even close. Small logistics, consulting gigs, $25 to $50 an hour. Maybe 10 hours a week. But something happened. He had income. Even $250 a week changed his psychology. He canceled 3 subscriptions. He started cooking again. He updated his resume. Not because someone told him to, but because he finally had something new to put on it. Within 4 months, one of those freelance clients offered him a full-time contract role. It paid 12% less than his old job. He took it.
I understand.
And for the first time in 2 years,
Perhaps we can
all
discuss
5
the
gears
terms.
started turning again.
There's nothing to discuss.
Stop for a second. Think about your own gears. Which one is stuck right now? Not all 5. Just one. Which one? If you are finding value in this breakdown, take a second and hit that subscribe button. Because we break down these financial patterns every week. And drop a comment below telling me which gear resonated most with you.
Confirm our growth
I read every
strategy
single
is
one.
on track.
Here's your move for today. Just one. Open your bank statement. Not from this month. From 3 months ago. Find
You know,
one recurring
I
charge you
actually
forgot
have the
about.
perfect answer for that.
Cancel it.
comment. Bingo.
That is it. That is your first gear turning. If you know someone who has been stuck, a brother, a friend, a cousin who is talented but cannot seem to get traction, send them this video, not as a lecture, as a lifeline. Sometimes people need to hear that the problem is not them. It is the gears. And if you want to understand the other side of this, what happens when someone actually crosses the $300,000 savings threshold and everything flips? Watch this video next. Because the psychology of building wealth is just as mechanical as the psychology of staying broke. I will see you there.